It's a pleasure to welcome you to this session of our training once more. Today, I will be talking about the factors that determine the income of an oil palm farmer. Of course, several factors are involved, but I would like to enumerate a few of them so that you can prepare ahead of these factors and take good advantage of them. First of all, I would like to talk about the amount of fresh fruit bunches produced. Usually, you can get as much as 1 to 2 tons per hectare per month. On the average, between 15 to 25 tons per hectare per year, if you have applied the best management practices. But depending on your practices, this can be lower. If you have not applied the best management practices, for example, you choose not to fill in the gaps, you have a field of 143 palms per hectare, but you have only about 100 trees per hectare. This eventually will reduce the volume of oil or the amount of money you are going to make. So the best thing to do under this condition is to fill in the gaps and ensure that every hectare contains at least 143 palms, which is the recommended density. But where you have failed to carry out good maintenance practices, you have your hanging fronds that try to hide some of your loose fruit. You also do not do your rings, and the fruit pickers don't see the loose fruits to pick. You, of course, will have reduction in your production, which is going to affect your income. And let's talk about the nutrient deficiency. If your palms are deficient nutrient-wise, definitely it's going to tell you the amount of fruits or bunches they can produce for you. So this is the first factor you have to consider. 50 to 25 tons per hectare per year is possible if you have taken note of these factors. Let's talk about another factor, number 2. We'll talk about the ripeness and quality of the bunches you have harvested. If you are selling your bunches, the buyers will not want to buy or pay for unripe bunches. They will not want to pay for overripe bunches or damaged bunches because they know these contain less amount of oil. And if you are the one milling yourself, you of course know that the volume of oil you get from this kind of bunches will not be the same as normal bunches. For example, the usual extraction rate for a ripe tenera bunch from a mature tree is between 22 to 24%. In a general language, in every 1 ton of FFB produced, you can get up to 220 kilograms of oil to 240 kilograms of oil at the end of the production. But the unfortunate thing is, if you do not take note of these factors mentioned, you can get as low as 10% or less. For example, if you have long stock that try to suck in your oil, if you have unripe bunches that don't contain oil, then you get less oil. You know that every bunch has the time you get the optimum oil quantity. And if you don't have harvest around this time, definitely you are going to get less volume of oil, which of course will affect your income. And let's talk about the third point, which is the quality of the oil. We'll talk about what we call FFA, free fatty acids, especially if you are supplying oil to industries. They will not want to buy oil that rich in FFA because it makes the oil go rancid. So eventually they may pay less for this kind of oil. And what causes that? If your bunches are harvested too late, or if they are left by the roadside for more than 24 hours or more, the concentration of the free fatty acids increases, and this makes it go below the acceptable limit or the international market requirement. For the record, the maximum concentration of free fatty acid in your oil should not be more than 5%. Please take note of this. Then let's talk about the other factor, which is the oil extraction rate of the fresh fruit bunch. Yes, this depends on the material you have planted with and the kind of oil mill you have. Like we mentioned earlier, you can get as much as 22 to 24% or 220 kilogram to 240 kilogram of oil per ton of fresh fruit. But if you plant materials like Jura, for example, you will never get this. If you have milling machines that are not also effective, you cannot also get this. You end up wasting a number, some volume of oil. And if you also harvest with long stock, this one will end up draining part of your oil, and that will reduce the extraction rate. So you must take note of these important factors. Other factors that may not be under the direct control of the farmers may include the season. You remember during the peak season, the price of oil reduces because more FFB is produced. And during the lean season, the price goes up. And the other factor is road. If your road network is not so good, you end up losing lots of bunches. You end up having lots of bunches get rotten, and the FFA will increase. You end up losing a lot of bunches to thieves and a number of other factors. I am sure that these 4 factors mentioned will equip you to prepare yourself as to make efforts that your plantation gives you the optimum income and make you happy at the end of the day. If you have enjoyed this post, this video, please take time to drop your comment and ask your questions. I can always be back to provide answers when necessary. Thank you.